Do you understand that you are a vibrational being first and foremost, and that you are offering a vibration all the time, and that the vibration that you're offering is sort of where you're at, what life has brought you to? It's often based upon what you've been thinking about. It's about what you've just been thinking about. It's what you are thinking about. But what you are thinking about is usually sort of like what you have been thinking about, because you usually don't move much from what you have been thinking about to what you are thinking about, but you could. What you are thinking about, which is a lot like what you have been thinking about, is largely about what you're observing. So what you're observing and what you have been observing and what you have been thinking about and what you are thinking about keeps bringing more to observe that's just like that. So most things don't change very much for most people, even from decade to decade, because you have these habits of approaching life that are mostly based upon observation, and so it's a cycle that you continue to repeat. But it is not a cycle that needs to be repeated. As you are observing your life experience, you are continually, without knowing it usually, giving birth to preferences of improvement. It really is the basis of all evolution. So as you are emitting this vibrational awareness of what would be better for you from your vantage point, that vibration matters a lot. It becomes a part of a vibrational reality that is the basis of future realities of future generations, but it could be the basis of your future and not so far distant reality. But it's slow going for most of you because your awareness of what is dominant. Hold that word dominant in your mind for just a little bit. We want to revisit as we move through this day together, because there are many things that you think about, and sometimes you feel good when you think about some of these things, and sometimes you don't feel so good when you think about these things. But in every case, on every subject, you do have a dominant vibration. And let's call that dominant vibration your belief. Your belief is a thought that you continue to think. And the reason that you continue to think the thought is because it's dominant, so it's easiest to find. It's dominant, so it has the most momentum. But it doesn't have to be dominant, and it doesn't have to have the most momentum, because you could make a thought of your choice dominant just by making a thought of your choice dominant. You could say, this thought is more important to me than that thought. Prosperity is more important to me than poverty. Even if poverty is dominant in your current experience, you could make prosperity dominant in your vibration if you'd stop observing. If there's somebody in your life that is giving you constant grief and you're observing them, how you feel about them is dominantly negative. But you could feel dominantly positive about them if you would stop letting what you observe be the basis of your vibration about them. You're sort of getting the hang of what we're talking about here. We're talking about the difference between being a deliberate creator, one who chooses the dominant thought and practices it until it is easily dominant, or one who just stumbles around, we love you so much, and focuses by default on whatever's loudest or most present. And you know what's so tricky about that? What is most present in your experience is what's dominant in your vibration. But you could change what's dominant in your vibration. You could have 10 major aspects of your current life. One of them could be pretty good, and 9 of them could be far from good. And if you would focus upon the one that you like, you could make it so dominant the other 9 would have to become the same. We love you so much, but you are lazy. You don't do that. You don't choose often what you mean to be dominant. You don't choose the direction of your thought or the vibrational content of your thought, because along your way you have come to believe that what is dominant, but it isn't. Vibration is dominant. So you could choose from what is whatever aspect of it you want. The other day, Esther was enjoying cleaning up some resistance in her own experience on a specific topic. And she was using a process that we have been teaching for quite a long while called a focus wheel. And the focus wheel is used to increase momentum. It is used to pick a topic that you would like to make dominant and increase the vibration of it, which is what makes it dominant. So the focus wheel works like this. You're observing life, something that you observe could be improved, and you recognize it. So you sit with the intention of improving your vibration on a subject. So you start with where you are. Such and such sucks. And then, as always, when you know what you don't want, for just a flash you know what you do want. So on the other end of that stick is a clearer than usual picture of what you do want. I know I don't want this, I would prefer this. So in the center of a page, Esther always draws a big circle, and she writes a positive statement that right now is not dominant within her at all. In fact, the opposite of it is dominant within her. That's why she's doing this. It's something that she intends to make more dominant because she is going to focus on it for a little while and allow it to become more dominant. You following? So she writes this in the center, and then she tries to think of things that are easy to think of, the support center circle of intention. And it's pretty easy. First one comes sort of hard, but then she gets rolling, and she'll write the first and the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth, and sometimes she'll just fill a whole page in all around. Sometimes you can hardly see anything left on the page. It's just writing everywhere. Sometimes the momentum becomes so fast that she finds what she has written in the center to be dominant in this moment. She changed what was dominant to something else. We call that deliberate creating. It's fun to clean up vibration. However, cleaning up vibration, just the idea of cleaning up a vibration, has resistance in it because there's something to clean up. And when you focus too long or too hard on what you're cleaning up, you make it dominant. You can do so many focus wheels on something that bothers you that you can make that thing that bothers you dominant. You getting the sense of what we're talking about? We love you so much. That's what humans do. You try so hard to get it right. You want so much to be good at what you do that you are so often in your quest for rightness or goodness or improvement actually activating the other end of the stick without even knowing you're doing it. Well, that's what Esther was doing. She was working so hard on cleaning up a vibration that she had been aware of that keeps rearing its ugly head, that while she was going through the motions and actually slightly improving the way she feels, overall Too much focus wheeling on the same subject over and over again was making what she didn't want dominant. Can you follow this a little bit? And can you put it in the category of trying too hard? So something very wonderful happened to Esther during this process. Right in the middle of the process, she grew weary of the subject. Sort of like sitting and looking through the catalog too long. Does that ever happen to you? Seemed like a good idea. Ooh, I'd like that, and I'd like that, and I'd like that. But after about 25 catalogs, you just want to vomit. Too much. You know what we're talking about. Too much on a topic without really improving anything. Maybe too much yearning. So she reached that place, which for ease of conversation, a really good description, she reached a place without, in that moment, being able to consciously identify it, of just giving up. It was like, enough already. Enough already. I've said what I want what I've said. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Something like that. And in the process of that, she doesn't even know how she did it. So we can't even really teach it to you. We're just telling you it's possible. Oh, we'll show you how. Esther fast forwarded into an uncluttered space of pure desire. And the thought that came to her mind was, if I could have this any way I wanted, if I were starting all over with this, if I were starting completely over with this, what would I choose? And right behind that came the thought, since I'm starting over right now, because every moment you're starting over. In every moment, you're starting over on what you make dominant. Since I'm starting over right now, what do I choose? What do I choose since I'm starting over? It was like she rocketed through a portal where no resistance went with her. She was free of the focus wheel, free of trying to clean stuff up. She went into a sort of dream state. A sort of state of, since I get to choose whatever I want, what do I choose? She was free of now reality and just in a dream state of, what would I choose about this? Well, I would choose this, and I would choose this, and I would choose this, and I would choose this. She was breathless. And the reason that we're telling this to you is because it was so obvious to Esther, the difference between trying to clean up a vibration and just starting fresh on a subject where there's nothing to clean up, and allowing yourself to go right to where you want to be. You do have to be willing to feel the vibration of it rather than have the dependency on seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. The more you hook up with your inner being, the more you will understand that it's all vibrational. And the more that you understand that it's all vibrational, the more you will look for the Elsies and the Jerrys where they are, not where they were. Esther woke up in the night and wrote that in her iPhone as the title of the book. Look for me where I am, not where I was. Because when you get into this vibrational world, then you don't lose access to anything that you care about. Look for yourself where you are, not where you were. Now hear this, hear this. Current manifestation is were. Current manifestation is past tense. So look at where you are, not where you were. But you got to understand, you all understand right now, don't you? This conversation is taking you there. You are vibrational beings and you are there. And so when you look where you are, now you're acting in your vibrational being rather than reacting to what was. And when you react constantly to what was, you recreate what was. So your manifestations keep reflecting what was and you don't recognize any progress. This was a really good conversation, and this is a really good time for a segment of reflection.